So this man said that he found this Tesla card right in front of David's house this morning.
The evidence is closing in. The block's whispering. Every breadcrumb, every little slip points at David like he's the one who committed the murder. And when a Tesla key showed up right outside his crib, the whole vibe changed. Cops say what they found about that key flips the script. Let me break it down. The shocking discovery that changed everything. The internet exploded on September 27, 2025, when a single Reddit post sent shockwaves through true crime communities worldwide. What started as a casual visit to a Hollywood Hills address quickly transformed into one of the most viral discoveries in recent memory, potentially providing crucial evidence in one of the most disturbing cases involving a rising music star and the tragic death of a teenage girl. A Redditor claiming to be an amateur investigator visited David's Hollywood Hills address and spotted a Tesla keycard hidden in the gutter behind leaves near the front entrance.
This Redditor actually went to the property and claims to have found his Tesla key on the floor, on the street, amongst the weeds, basically in the gutter. Very, very bizarre, right next to the property.
The discovery, documented with time-stamped photos at 8:15 a.m., would soon become the center of a media firestorm that has captivated millions across social media platforms. But to understand the true significance of this key discovery, we need to dive deep into the horrifying case that has shaken the music industry to its core. This isn't just about a missing car key. It's about the tragic death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez and the mounting evidence pointing toward one of music's most promising young stars. David Anthony Burke, known professionally as David, seemed to have it all. The 20-year-old American singer-songwriter from Los Angeles rose to fame in 2022 through TikTok with viral tracks like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, which amassed hundreds of millions of streams. His breakthrough came with lo-fi R&B tracks that resonated with millions of Gen Z fans, leading to a record deal with Darkroom and Interscope Records. By 2025, he had amassed over 5 million monthly listeners on Spotify and built a dedicated fan base, particularly among young audiences on social media. His music, blending alternative R&B, indie, and lo-fi elements, often explored themes of relationships, heartbreak, and emotional turmoil. But beneath this rising star's meteoric success, a darker story was unfolding, one that would ultimately lead to that fateful discovery of a Tesla key in a Hollywood gutter. The story begins not with the key discovery, but with a missing teenager whose case had gone cold for over a year. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was a 15-year-old girl from Lake Elsinore, California, who had been reported missing since April 2024 when she was 13 years old. The young girl, described by family as bright and aspiring, had simply vanished without a trace, leaving her loved ones desperate for answers. What makes this case particularly haunting is the timeline of events that would later unfold. Reports emerged that Celeste had been in contact with David, with their interactions allegedly beginning when she was as young as 11, escalating to what many describe as a grooming relationship. The gravity of these allegations would only become clear months later, when a routine impound lot inspection would reveal one of the most shocking discoveries in recent criminal history. On September 8, 2025, a severely decomposed body was discovered in the front trunk of David's impounded Tesla on September 8, 2025, in a Los Angeles impound lot. The vehicle, a Tesla with Texas license plates, had been towed 5 days earlier from the upscale Bird Streets neighborhood in Hollywood after being abandoned. What lot workers initially dismissed as a mechanical issue quickly became a homicide investigation when they reported a foul odor emanating from the car.
We also know that the car had been abandoned on that street in the Hollywood Hills for at least 3 days before it was impounded. We've also spoken to neighbors in that area who said that there were people who had walked by the car and had noticed a bad odor, and that they kind of thought it was either a dead animal somewhere, either under the car or near the car.
The discovery itself was as disturbing as it was unexpected. Inside the front trunk, authorities found human remains, specifically a head and torso stuffed in a bag, indicating the body had been dismembered and was in an advanced state of decomposition.
And that's when they opened that front hatch on the Tesla and found the bag with the body parts.
And they call that the frunk, if I'm not mistaken, in the front of the Tesla. It's like the trunk in the front.
The condition of the remains suggested the person had been dead for several days or longer, trapped in the enclosed, heat-exposed space of the car's front compartment during Los Angeles' warm September weather. The victim was officially identified on September 17, 2025, by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The identification process process was challenging due to the decomposition, but was confirmed through forensic analysis, including dental records and a distinctive tattoo on her finger, a detail that would become crucial to understanding the connection between victim and suspect.
They certainly had some of them because the police did say that she had this tattoo, which is very interesting, something we found out, but she had a tattoo on her right index finger that said the letters SHHH ...
What makes this discovery even more chilling is the location where it occurred. This was not a scenario where David was physically found with or caught at the scene. The car had been impounded without his apparent knowledge, and he was out of state on tour at the time of the discovery. Law enforcement sources noted that David owns multiple vehicles, which are often used by various people in his circle, complicating immediate attribution of responsibility. The investigation that followed would reveal a web of disturbing connections between the young musician and his alleged victim. Several eerie details have fueled speculation, including relationship rumors stemming from Rivas's mother telling TMZ that her daughter had been dating someone named David around the time of her disappearance in April 2024. This aligned perfectly with David's first name, though no official confirmation of a romantic involvement existed at the time. Perhaps most disturbing of all were the matching tattoos discovered during the investigation. Both David and Rivas had identical tattoos on their right index fingers, a detail confirmed by photos circulating online and reported by multiple outlets. This physical evidence suggested a personal connection that went far beyond casual acquaintance. The timeline of events becomes even more suspicious when examining the circumstances surrounding the vehicle's abandonment. The Tesla was impounded in early September 2025 after being abandoned in the Hollywood Hills, with the decomposition suggesting Celeste died relatively recently. However, the exact timeline remained unclear, creating a gap that investigators would need to fill to understand how and when the crime occurred. As news of the discovery spread, public reaction was swift and explosive. The professional consequences were immediate and severe. David faced severe backlash, being dropped as a brand ambassador by Crocs and Hollister on September 17, 2025, with both companies removing promotional content featuring him. High-profile collaborators began distancing themselves, with Kaylee Uchis announcing she was pulling their joint track from streaming platforms. But the story was far from over. As investigators dug deeper into the case, more disturbing details would emerge about the relationship between David and Celeste, setting the stage for the discovery that would change everything. A simple Tesla key card found in a Hollywood gutter that would potentially unlock the final pieces of this tragic puzzle. The key discovery that broke the internet. On the morning of September 27, 2025, at precisely 8:15 a.m. PDT, a Redditor using the handle #ThrowawaySleuth42 made a discovery that would send shockwaves through the true crime community. What started as a curious visit to David's Hollywood Hills address to check out the area quickly became one of the most significant pieces of evidence in the ongoing investigation into Celeste Rivas's death.
So this man said that he found this Tesla card right in front of David's house this morning. He said, "I live pretty close to David's place and I just wanted to go check out the area and ended up finding this Tesla key right in the gutter behind some leaves."
The discovery was as unexpected as it was potentially crucial. The black Tesla key fob was found literally right in front of David's house, spotted shining out from under leaves in the gutter. The Redditor, who claimed to live pretty close to David's place, had approached the area from the public sidewalk, careful not to trespass on private property.
Found literally right in front of his house this morning. I live pretty close to David's place and I wanted to just go check out the area and ended up finding the Tesla's key right in the gutter behind some leaves. Just spotted a Tesla letter shining out from under the leaves.
The implications of this discovery cannot be overstated. Here was a Tesla key, specifically for the same type of vehicle where Celeste's body was found, hidden mere feet from David's residence. The timing raised immediate questions. Why would this key be hidden in such an obvious location? And what did its presence mean for understanding how Celeste's body ended up in the impounded Tesla?
But where he is saying he found this is like really sketchy to me. And now I feel like it's leaving us with more and more questions that we've already had since the beginning of this whole entire thing. To me, it seems like somebody purposely put this Tesla card for whatever reason into this hole and then maybe covered it with leaves.
The discovery immediately sparked intense debate within online communities about the implications of finding the key so close to David's residence. Users on Reddit and other platforms began theorizing about why the key would be hidden in such a location. Some suggested it was evidence of panic, perhaps dropped during a hasty disposal attempt. Others theorized it could have been deliberately planted as evidence, though this seemed less likely given the circumstances. What made the discovery even more significant was the understanding of how Tesla vehicles operate.
What's interesting though is that I have a Tesla and he wouldn't be using his key card. Everyone uses their phones with the app as their key. The only time I use my key card is when I'm letting someone else use my car. Otherwise, I never carry it because my phone is my key. Makes me think someone else was driving his car, if that is his, or that he didn't want to bring his phone and be tracked. Anyway, it's crazy that you found it.
This technical insight added another layer to the mystery. Tesla owners typically use their smartphones as keys through the Tesla app, only resorting to physical key cards when allowing others to use their vehicles. The presence of a physical key card suggested that either someone else had been given access to the vehicle or that David deliberately chose not to use his phone for tracking reasons. The Redditors' handling of the evidence became a source of immediate controversy within the true crime community.
People are saying you need to turn that into law enforcement ASAP. This could be critical evidence. Also, avoid touching it as there could be fingerprints on it. Handle with care. Even if this isn't key, it's someone's key as well. Either way, it should be handed in to the police. People are saying, I can't believe you covered it with you touched it with your fingers.
The criticism was swift and harsh. The Redditor had potentially contaminated crucial evidence by handling it with bare hands. Forensic experts pointed out that fingerprints, DNA evidence, and other trace materials could have been compromised by the amateur handling of what could be a crucial piece of evidence in a homicide investigation. Despite the contamination concerns, the Redditor did follow through on community demands to contact law enforcement. In a follow-up post, they documented their call to the LAPD non-emergency line, providing a screenshot of the phone call log and explaining that they had handed the key card over to police for processing.
So this key was provided to the LAPD. The person who actually allegedly found the key claimed that they had contacted the LAPD for an investigation into the thing. It said, this is my call to the non-emergency line to reaffirm that I provided every detail and piece of information leading up to what was uncovered. My fingerprints won't distract the evidence. I was reassured. I will provide any updates if I'm informed of anything else, but the card is out of my hands now. They gladly took it in.
The LAPD collected the key as evidence, though they noted concerns about tampering with potential evidence. No charges were filed against the Redditor for tampering, but the incident highlighted the dangers of amateur sleuthing in active criminal investigations. The discovery's location raised particular questions about police investigative procedures.
What I don't understand is how the authorities missed this. Wouldn't they have done a proper search in and around the confines of his home? From what I remember, the Tesla wasn't parked far from his home either, so it bugs me how a random Redditor found it, but an entire search team didn't.
This criticism sparked broader questions about the thoroughness of the initial police investigation. If such a crucial piece of evidence could be found by a casual visitor to the area, what did that say about the initial search procedures? Had investigators been too focused on the house itself and missed obvious evidence in the immediate surrounding area? The timing of the discovery also raised intriguing questions. Weather reports indicated that Los Angeles had not experienced rain for months prior to the discovery, but there had been rain the night before the key was found. Some speculated that the rain might have washed the key into a more visible position or displaced leaves that had been covering it, making it detectable for the first time since it was hidden.
Whole situation about the car is just really confusing to me. At the end of the day, it just leaves me with a lot of questions.
Indeed, the key discovery raised far more questions than it answered. If the key belonged to the Tesla where Celeste's body was found, why was it hidden near David's house rather than kept with the vehicle? Had it been deliberately hidden to prevent access to the car? Was it dropped during a panicked attempt to dispose of evidence, or was there a more complex explanation involving multiple parties and a broader conspiracy? As the key made its way into official evidence channels, investigators now had to grapple with a new piece of the puzzle that could potentially unlock crucial answers about how Celeste Rivas died and how her body ended up in David's Tesla. But the story was far from over. The key discovery was just the beginning of a much larger and more disturbing pattern of evidence that would continue to emerge. The web of evidence pointing to murder. The Tesla key discovery was shocking enough on its own, but it represented just one piece of a much larger and more disturbing puzzle that investigators and internet sleuths had been assembling for weeks. As the full scope of evidence emerged, a chilling picture began to form of what may have been a carefully planned crime that ultimately unraveled due to amateur mistakes and digital breadcrumbs left across multiple platforms. The investigation had already uncovered a deeply troubling pattern of behavior that extended far beyond the single Tesla key found in the gutter. Digital forensics revealed what appeared to be years of grooming behavior, with evidence suggesting that David had been in contact with Celeste since she was as young as 11 years old. Screenshots from David's Discord server, dating back to 2022, showed conversations between the singer and a user named Celeste. These digital interactions allegedly began when Celeste was 11, 12 years old, and David was 17, raising serious questions about the nature of their relationship from its very inception. The conversations reportedly escalated over time, with evidence suggesting suggesting that what began as fan interactions developed into something far more inappropriate and potentially criminal. The timeline becomes even more disturbing when examining the physical evidence of their relationship. Both David and Celeste had matching tattoos on their right index fingers, a detail that takes on sinister implications when viewed in the context of their alleged secret relationship. The tattoo, which could be interpreted as a symbol of keeping secrets, suggests a level of intimacy and shared experience that goes far beyond casual acquaintance. Perhaps most chilling of all was David's own cryptic commentary about his artistic abilities, captured in a resurfaced interview where he jokes about solving murders he has committed.
Basically, an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego, and the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it.
The musical evidence presents perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the entire case. David's 2022 hit Romantic Homicide explicitly mentions a girlfriend named Celeste in lyrics describing violence and body disposal. The song includes lines about killing and hiding a body, themes that seemed like artistic expression at the time but now appear potentially prophetic. The music video for the track depicts scenarios involving body disposal in a car trunk, creating eerie parallels to the actual crime scene. Even more directly incriminating was a leaked demo track that surfaced in December 2023. The song explicitly professes love for someone named Celeste, with lyrics referencing tattoos and obsessive devotion. Lines like, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest," take on deeply disturbing meaning when viewed alongside the physical evidence of their matching tattoos. The investigation revealed additional layers of digital evidence that painted a picture of systematic grooming and control. Photos and videos surfaced showing David with a teenage girl matching Celeste's description, dating from 2023 to 2024, when she would have been 13, 14 years old. These images, allegedly from David's private Discord server or social media accounts, showed them in affectionate poses that suggested a romantic relationship despite the significant age gap and her minor status. The grooming allegations extended beyond just David himself to include his broader community and inner circle. Screenshots allegedly showed members of his Discord server discussing Celeste as his girlfriend while being aware she was underage. This suggested a pattern of enablement and cover-up that allowed the inappropriate relationship to continue unchecked. The timeline of Celeste's disappearance becomes crucial when examining the evidence of criminal intent. She was reported missing in April 2024, but the decomposition of her body suggested she died relatively recently, potentially months after her initial disappearance. This gap raised questions about where she had been during the intervening months and what circumstances led to her death. Geographic evidence placed David near Celeste's home around the time of her disappearance. TMZ reported a photo showing David in Lake Elsinore, less than a third of a mile from Celeste's family home, around April 2024. This placed him in the immediate area during the critical time period when she vanished. The investigation also revealed disturbing patterns in David's online behavior during the period when Celeste was missing. Social media analysis showed that he continued touring and releasing music throughout 2024, including content that some interpreted as referencing her disappearance. This apparent normalcy, while potentially knowing about her death, raised questions about his psychological state and level of involvement. The Tesla itself provided crucial forensic evidence about the timeline and method of the crime. The vehicle had been impounded for unpaid tickets in early September 2025, suggesting it had been abandoned for an extended period. The advanced decomposition of the remains indicated they had been in the vehicle for a significant time, potentially months, raising questions about when exactly the crime occurred and how long the evidence had been hidden in plain sight. Family members of Celeste provided additional context that supported the prosecution narrative. Her mother confirmed to investigators that her daughter had mentioned dating someone named David, providing a direct link between victim and suspect. The family statements painted a picture of a vulnerable teenager who had been isolated from her support system and manipulated by an older predator. The broader pattern of David's behavior toward underage fans became a crucial element of the investigation. Multiple other young girls came forward with allegations of inappropriate contact, suggesting that Celeste's case might not have been isolated. These additional allegations painted a picture of systematic predatory behavior rather than a single instance of poor judgment. The discovery of the Tesla key represented the final piece of physical evidence that could potentially tie all these elements together. If investigators could establish that the key was used to access the vehicle where Celeste's body was found, it would create a direct physical link between David and the crime scene. The key's proximity to his residence suggested either panic disposal or deliberate hiding of evidence. The case also highlighted broader systemic failures in protecting vulnerable young people from online predators. Despite warnings from family members and apparent knowledge within his community about inappropriate relationships, the grooming behavior apparently continued unchecked for years. This raised questions about the responsibility of social media platforms, record labels, and others in the entertainment industry to protect minors from exploitation. As of September 18, 2025, David had not been formally charged with any crime related to Celeste's death, but the mounting evidence created a compelling circumstantial case. The combination of digital evidence, physical evidence, geographical evidence, and witness testimony painted a picture of a crime that was both carefully planned and ultimately sloppy in its execution. The Tesla key discovery represented more than just a piece of evidence. It symbolized how even carefully planned crimes can unravel through small mistakes and the persistent efforts of determined investigators, both professional and amateur. As the investigation continues, this simple key card found in a Hollywood gutter may prove to be the piece of evidence that finally brings justice for Celeste Rivas. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.